Greetings of peace. My name is Ra Imhotep. I'm broadcasting on behalf of 13signastrology.com. I've been getting a lot of inquiries on this particular episode that I'm going to go ahead and cover. And this is going to go ahead and deal with the Olympics that are coming up. The Olympics that are coming up on July the 27th, I believe, 2012, and they end on August the 12th of 2012. The Olympics. Now, a lot of people have been saying it's going to be some type of terrorist attack. They're probably going to do something or whatever. The New World Order is going to do something. They're going to do something at the Olympics. I know for a fact something's going to happen. Now, I know a lot of people, this is going to be a very controversial topic or whatever, because a lot of people think that it's definitely going to be something that's going to happen. And a lot of people are going to get mad at me because I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I don't believe something major is going to happen at the Olympics. Yeah, it might be, small little subtleties and things that might happen or whatever, but I don't think it's going to be like a 9/11 type of event that's going to happen at the Olympics. Now, that's just my views on it. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but I'm saying I don't think it's going to be. Now, do I think that these Olympics have some type of hidden meaning, and do I think that it's some type of elite group or some type of political group that's controlling the Olympics? Of course, there's always political groups controlling everything, and nothing in this world is as it seems. Like I always say, and like others say, you need to really learn how the world works and how the world is designed. Now, a lot of people are connecting the Olympics to the Masons, and they're doing this because if you look at the stadium at the Olympics or whatever, they have the stadium lights are shaped like the eye of Heru, or the eye of Horus, or the eye of what some people call Ra. And the stadium lights are shaped with that pyramid that's on the back of the dollar bill. The stadium lights are shaped just like that. And people are using that as an example of saying, see, the Masons are behind that because this is Masonic symbology. And this goes back to the Illuminati, because the Illuminati controls the Masons. But what people fail to realize is that those symbols have been used by extraterrestrials and ancient indigenous tribes way before the Illuminati, of what you know them as the European Illuminati, existed. So, and way before Masonry existed, they were still using those symbols. So you can't really use and say that those symbols are talking about the Illuminati strictly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't really say that. Like, those symbols, the Illuminati are using them to put a certain energy and a certain spell on the masses. See, that's what's really going on. They're using the symbols to put a certain spell on the masses. And these symbols were always used for the same purpose. See, these symbols are sigils. They're programmed. And you could program a symbol or a sigil with your own intentions. So that's what's going on or whatever with these symbols or sigils or whatever that they're using or whatever. It has nothing to do with the Masons strictly or the Illuminati strictly. It goes deeper than that. It has an occult significance, a direct occult significance. So that's the first thing that people need to realize. Now, as far as the logo of the Olympics, people were pointing out to me that, and I looked at it for myself. If you go on the website, it spells Zion. That's right. The official logo for the Olympics spells Zion. And people are saying this goes back to Zionism. And Zionism is a political tool that the Illuminati control. And that's what people believe or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that Zionism is not a secret society and a political group. And we already know that you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. So I'm not saying that it's not a political group that many different religious people are a part of. But what I am saying is that when you deal with the whole doctrine of Zionism, it goes back a lot further than that. You see, and I'm going to go ahead and lay a foundation or whatever for this video and go ahead and touch on the things that most of the researchers out there are talking about, but I'm going to give you the occult significance behind it, because most of these researchers are coming from a religious background. They do not have an occult background and don't have a literacy of symbols. Now, another thing that they're using is the Black Widow spider. They're using the Black Widow spider, and this is another symbol that's associated with and supposed to mean spirit of Zionism, and they're using this and associating this with the Olympics. The Black Widow spider is one of the actual symbols that they're using. Now, most people are going and dealing with the system of it's a spider, so basically they're using this spider to some kind of way deceive us. You know what I'm saying? It's the Illuminati doing this, and this is a Illuminati symbol, but it's much more to it than that. It's much more to it than that. It has an occult significance. Again, another thing I want to go ahead and point out is that the Olympics was officially a game that was started to pay homage to what some people say was the warrior deity Zeus. The warrior deity Zeus from the Greeks. But what people fail to realize is the Olympics go back even further than that, and it goes back into Babylon. And in Babylon, Zeus was Marduk. Zeus was Marduk. So when you deal with the Olympics, really what's going on is this. They are really paying homage to the Anunnaki, the extraterrestrial gods. You see, that's what's really going on. When they talk about Zeus, that goes into Marduk. When you talk about Marduk, that goes into Murdoch, or Michael, the Archangel Michael. And we know that the Archangel Michael, Marduk, or Murdoch, was responsible for slaying Tiamat, as I talked about in other videos. Responsible for slaying Tiamat, or the dragon. You see, and this is who they pay homage to. They pay homage to Marduk. Now we know that Tiamat was dealing with the Kundalini energy and the Kundalini force. So when Murdoch or Marduk slayed Tiamat, this is dealing with the Anunnaki when they kill humanity's enlightenment, which is the Kundalini force or the Kundalini energy. This is how you become enlightened. It's through the Kundalini. And you see, when Murdoch, when he represented the council, slayed Tiamat, this is when they cast the spell on the planet. So you see, this Olympic thing, they have to pay homage, because what the Zionists are doing, who are really occultists, I'm going to go ahead and go into the meat of this now. The Zionists are really occultists, you see, and it has nothing to do with religion for them. It has nothing to do with Judaism. You see, I was going to do a video on Judaism, and I still might, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about this here. You see, what you guys think are the Jews and the Sabbath and all that is going back to the Anunnaki. Because on the seventh day, or the Sabbath day, or the Shabbat, this is when the Anunnaki ended the Adama experiments, and they rested. They rested. The Adama projects took 49,000 years altogether to end. So the seventh day, or the Shabbat day, is actually a 7,000 year period of rest. That's right, of rest. And the Jews has to pay homage because they are still working the same rituals that many other ancients worked, like the ancient Canaanites, who were in actuality the ancient Moors, were working. And this was passed on and taught to these Zionists by the older indigenous tribe of Yahuda, or what you would call Judah. You see, this was the original so-called Jews. What you know of as the Jews today was really the tribe of Judah, which was a tribe dealing with a bloodline. And this covenant was passed on to these Jews that you see now, based on them having a certain amount of blood in them that goes back to the original bloodline, which goes back to the Anunnaki themselves. But it was passed down to the Lemurians, the Atlanteans, the Egyptians. Then it went on into the Moors, the ancient Canaanites, and then the British. So those that you see today, what many people mistake as being just regular Europeans, and this bloodline that they talk about, the 13 bloodlines and all that, or the Illuminati bloodlines, goes back to the ET bloodlines, which goes back to the ancient indigenous Moors, Egyptians bloodlines. You see, and that needs to be really thought about. It needs to be really thought about. So when you start talking about Zion, you are dealing with a spiritual significance. A spiritual significance. Yeah, we can say on one level that Zion is talking about the hill that the Jebusites set up their fortress on, that later King David came and conquered and turned it into his city. Because that's what most people think Zionism is talking about. You know, they think it's talking about that. Some hill called Zion. And then they think, some people say it's talking about Jerusalem, and the Jews want to take back Jerusalem from the Palestinians and all of that. All of that's propaganda. See, it's deeper than this, ladies and gentlemen. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. Zion, if you study it from the Kabbalah point of view, which was the original pristine point of view that the original tribe of Yahuda or Judah, which later became Jews, dealt with, which was the Kabbalah. Before you get into your religion of Judaism, they dealt with, past the religion was the mysticism aspect of it, which was the Kabbalah. And in the Kabbalah, the term Judaism means the spiritual point from which reality emerges. From which reality emerges. The spiritual point from which reality emerges. That's what the term Zion is dealing with in the Kabbalah. That's what it's dealing with. So this is a spiritual significance. The spiritual point from which reality emerges is dealing in light. And we know we came from the stars. So this goes back to extraterrestrials. Extraterrestrials. So Zionists are doing rituals and paying homage to extraterrestrials. So when you talk about the Olympics, and when you do the etymology of the Olympics and you study the history of it, you know it goes back to the worship of Zeus. But Zeus equates again to Murdoch. So this goes back to the Anunnaki. So this game and these Olympics and all the sacrifices and things that are taking place before it are building up to something. It's building up to for the ETs again. The Olympics is a ritual to pay homage to extraterrestrials. That's right. So another thing I want to point out is this this so-called, it's a card game called the Illuminati. It's a card game called the Illuminati, and many people have been talking about this, and they've been saying that these cards have predicted a lot of events happening, like the World Trade Center was predicted by these cards or whatever, and a whole bunch of other stuff or whatever. But what I want to point out, it's a particular card. It's a particular card in the Illuminati card game. And it talks about what many people are thinking the Olympics are going to be bombed because of this card or whatever. But it's talking about world catastrophes. This card is talking about world catastrophes. And it's like a card game or whatever. So it has like different images. It has one image of a black guy and some people behind them, and they're like protesting because they're getting ready to go to war. Then you have another image of a clock basically saying that time is almost up. Then you have another image dealing with like tornadoes and world catastrophes happening like in the background. And people are saying that this card has something to do with the Olympics. That's what a lot of researchers are saying. And I'm not saying that it doesn't, but I'm saying it's even deeper than that. See, I don't think the Olympics is really the event that most people need to be worried about. The event that people need to be worried about is what's coming after the Olympics. The Olympics is a milestone marking something. It's a marker. And it's a gateway into the next level, because they know that the Anunnaki and the beings are coming back. So they have to go ahead and pave the way. And how are they going to pave the way? Wiping out 2/3 of the population. It's coming. And for those people that aren't in line and in tune with Gaia or Tiamat or the earth, to these people and this doctrine that they're dealing with, you're basically expendable. You are expendable. So that's what that card is talking about. That card is not just talking about the Olympics and what may happen there. It's talking about what's going to happen after the Olympics. What type of catastrophes are going to happen after that. Now, when you deal with the Black Widow spider, what's going on with that? And they're saying that this goes back to Zionism. When you look at the Black Widow spider and you turn it over, you'll see a hourglass on there. You'll see an hourglass on the back of the Black Widow spider. It's a symbol that looks like an hourglass, which is infinity, actually. This used to be the number 8 to the Egyptians. See, this was dealing with infinity or time, the hourglass of time. And time is almost up. But what hourglass are they talking about? The time is almost up before the Anunnaki and these certain beings come back to the planet. You see, and I'm not promoting the Anunnaki's doctrine, and I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm just telling you exactly what they're dealing with. And these Zionists are dealing with the Anunnaki. They're paying homage. And they have always been, and this is why they keep the Shabbat and the Sabbath. You see, it has nothing to do with religion. And this is what people fail to realize. They want to get caught up and say the Jews control everything and want to do with religion, when it's deeper than that. It always goes back to extraterrestrials usually with them, because the extraterrestrials are the ones that set up the religions. You see, and it's dealing with reptilians, but you got to remember, you got reptilians that's in the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki just mean those that came from the heavens to the earth. So you have reptilian type of beings that are Anunnaki. So yeah, the reptilians are a part of it. Then you have humanoid looking Anunnakis. You got different type of beings that came from the heavens to the earth. And this is what it's talking about, the beings that are getting ready to come back. And this is what the Olympics is dealing with. It's an extraterrestrial doctrine. So I hope this helped. This is part 1. I'm going to do a part 2, I'm pretty sure, on my views on the Olympics and the occult significance and the extraterrestrial significance behind it. For more enlightening information, visit my website, 13signsastrology.com. And until we meet again, I'll leave you in peace and prosperity.